Welcome to the Tom Castro Shooting Academy podcast. You have now entered the next level. All right, guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Tom Castro Shooting Academy Next Level podcast. I have a bunch of new guests. Some people I think you've only met one of these guys, Mr. Tyler Turbo Man Meisenheimer. I always feel like that's the Christmas movie every time I say it like that. So with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So who's in that movie again?
Arnold.
Got to get an Arnold in there from the man right there.
That's right.
So, yeah. All right. So I'm just gonna have everybody introduce themselves. So we'll start with Daniel. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody kind of who you are, where you come from, where you live, and how long you've been shooting.
Sure. Yeah. So Daniel McAllister, DMAC, been shooting since 2022. So just hit 2 years in March of this year. So hit B class pretty quick, got into A in about a year, and then now I'm a master level shooter. First national. So
that's going to be a theme here, just in case you guys didn't know. So we are missing one guy, DJ. Hopefully he comes in later. But okay, Ryan, introduce yourself.
My name is Ryan Lee. I run Empirical Concepts Training. I've been shooting USPSA, technically been a member for 5 years, jumped in late 2018, was very broken up. I'd shoot for 2 or 3 months, and I got deployed for a year and a half, and I came back to shoot for 2 or 3 months and took another long break for my son being born and the passing of my father, and really got after it hard and heavy late in 2022. So I've been hard at it for about a year and a half now, from the, I guess, eastern Myrtle Beach area of South Carolina. And master class shooter. I started in 3-gun, got to B class, had a bunch of really bad habits, and decided it was time to invest in some training. So went and trained with some high-speed guys and started down the right path.
You mean 2 shots on paper isn't the answer? Like a couple of Delta wing, wig them on the side isn't good enough?
Hey, 2 and brown targets down, baby.
Oh my God, what a terrible way to start shooting. Just like brushed by the shoulder and you killed it. That's
yep.
Good enough.
All right, Paul, introduce yourself, bro.
My name is Paul Parker. I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia. I've been shooting USPSA for right at a year. June was my year anniversary. Hit A class pretty fast, and I've been camping out right there for a minute. Hopefully going to make master soon. I'm sitting about 83%. And man, I just really enjoy our sport. I think it's fantastic.
We're gonna dig into some of these classifications that you guys have, because I hate that you guys keep wanting to get better in the classification thing instead of getting better as a shooter. You guys are killing with these letters, boys. You guys need to stop chasing Tyler at those damn 100% classifiers, because you got to come up here and shoot against us. Remember that. If you get that G, just remember that. With a master, you got a good chance to grow and win some shit. But now you're gonna come up against me and Tyler. It's like, just keep chasing that letter, boys.
Yeah, boy.
I'm on the record and saying I don't want G right now.
Well, I mean, Daniel, you're taking a class. You know how I am, dude. I think classifications are the worst, even though when I first started, I chased it, I understood that was the biggest mistake I ever made. But I was lucky enough to be driven, and just keep pushing to be a better G. But there's a lot of guys that want that letter, man, that are just not even close. Like, you can see it in nationals. Like, man, the drop off is pretty far. Like those top 20 dudes, maybe 25, don't want to offend anybody, because I didn't get down too far past 20. I was just barely making it myself. But like, dude, the drop off number wise, as you start getting 60, 70, 80, 100 point, gaps in the letter G, that's a difference. There's a big difference there. So, hell, dude, like I said, I'm just trying to hold on. And there's guys that aren't even close to where I'm at. So it's like, woo, just keep rushing up there, boys. You got to come beat the guests. That you got to shoot against the best guys at that point. It's tough. Plus, it sucks shooting locals against nobody. There's not a lot of grandmasters to shoot against. It's, like Tyler's shooting against himself most of the time in carry optics, goes to limited optics. He gets to shoot against Caleb, guys like that. But there's like, what, 2, 3 guys, 4 guys at the most. And that's a lot of people at a local that are grandmasters. So it's, it's not easy to shoot against just yourself. Basically, you got to find other goals. So, all right, Tyler, introduce yourself. Tyler, hold on one second. DJ, I don't have you on screen, bro, but if you got your audio going?
Yeah, I'm about to go into the living room. My downstairs with the
No,
fiance.
no problem,
I'll be
dude. I just want to make sure audio worked. Go ahead, do what you got to do. I'll introduce Tyler. So go ahead, Tyler.
All right.
Cool. What's up, boys? Turbo Man Flex, as some of you know me. Been shooting this. I've been telling people 8 years, but I actually did a little, math, and I guess I'm just kind of retarded, and it's only been 7 years. So this was our 4th nationals that I've been to, and so I mean, I started in California, where guns are banned and stuff, or at least what everybody thinks, and then I was C class for the first year, sucked really bad, and then I started putting in some work and moved up. Took a Ben class, Swansted class, and then met Tom once I moved over here to South Carolina 3 years ago, and started putting in some more work. And now you guys know me as the Blur of Green.
Do you think that was the biggest jump you had in your shooting? I think we talked about this once before. It's been a long time since we've been together on a podcast, but you think that was your biggest jump was when you took your first class? Like you really kind of pinpointed where you sucked,
Absolutely. Well, your big thing at that time, and I believe it still is, but it's just like the way that you teach shooting on the move, like unlocked a whole new like level of shooting for me. And then once you could shoot on the move good, like everything's kind of fucking possible at that
Easy.
point.
The sad part is we don't really get to use that too much at nationals now, do we?
No, there's like fucking 2 stages where it made sense.
I'm learning. I learned a bunch of new techniques at nationals on how to not shoot on the move. So it was good. Nationals was probably the best match I've ever been to for learning. Like I didn't think I actually would, when you're focused and you're trying to win and you're trying to shoot well, like you wouldn't think you're learning anything, right? But man, I was so locked into what I was doing, and I had to make so many changes because of the ground cover there. I learned so much at that match, man. I'd never have ever taken 18th at a match and be like, God, that was such a good match. Like I felt good about my performance. Like I learned so much. And again, like I went back and did the what ifs. If I just took away two bullets, that was it. I didn't change time or anything, just 2 bullets. And it takes me into the top 12. Like that's how much of a difference. I mean, those are 2 very important bullets, though. I mean, they were mics, so they equaled a lot of points there. But it's pretty wild when you're battling it out at nationals like that, and you learn that it's like, wow, 1 bullet is all it takes to drop you 5, 6, 8, 20 spots.
Yeah, dude. 2 mics would have been 9th place.
Yes, yeah.
Like crazy, dude.
The problem with your 2 mics, which was kind of where my issue is your 2 mics came on a high point stage. Like you went on one of them crappy ass 60 point stages where you're like, cool, I lost 15, 20 points. No. You lose it on a giant, 140 point stage or whatever it is. And it's just like, God, those are the worst, but that's usually where you lose them because you're trying to push, So,
yes, sir.
All right, DJ, introduce yourself, brother.
Oh, all right. So everybody knows me as DJ, but my real name is Deshaun Jenkins. I started shooting competition in 2021. So 3 years in the sport. I'm one of those people that accidentally made master really fast. So I made master in 9 months. And my first match, a major, was at Area 6. So I went in here and got my ass whooped. Awesome. So, people on my squad was Aaron Eddins, Jacob Hetherington, and Trayvon Barber, and all that was my first big major. And I was in there as a master, a fresh of 3 days, and then, got humbled immediately. And that's what made me start trying to actually get good at the sport. And it's just been hammering in since then because I got it on accident. Law enforcement student was like, hey, you should try this thing called USPSA. And I was like, what the hell is that? That sounds like a postal service, but whatever. And then I was like, cool, I'll do it. And then I shot the first stage and got addicted and signed up for 6 more matches immediately after that. Like I was like, oh, this is cool. This is nothing like I do training for law enforcement. It's like, this is way different. But recently made G. And like Tom was saying, I wasn't really chasing it. It just happened. It was one of those, like I was just shooting classifiers like stages. And then the next thing I know, I hit the G, and I was like, everybody told me before I even knew. Like everybody was like, hey, you hit Grandmaster, dude. I'm like, dang, y'all watching my stats like that.
They care more than you did.
Yeah. Yeah, I got messages and stuff. People like,
Yeah.
dude, you made me, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Then immediately JJ messaged me after I made the post. He was like, yep, now the real work starts. And I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. But I still have yet to take a class of any kind. I do need to take classes. It's really hard to with my schedule and all of that. But this stuff is fun. I enjoy this. I want to keep doing it as long as I can.
So this was your first nationals?
Second one.
Second nationals. What was your first nationals?
Last year.
Carry Optics?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. That's awesome. Because Tyler and I have been to a lot of nationals. So I'm really interested in what your opinion is from last year's to this year. So we'll get back to that in a second. Daniel, your first nationals completely? Never been to any of the nationals?
Yep.
Paul, same thing for you?
Yep. Same
Ryan,
thing for
same
me.
thing for you, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So that's kind of why I'm doing this podcast. I kind of wanted to bring on, I've known these guys for a while. Paul, actually, I just met at nationals. Ryan, I've known for a while. And Daniel, I've known for a while. Actually, well, 2 years now, whatever it is, since he's been shooting. And DJ, I've known for a while. But this is the first time I've shot with DJ. Actually, I think this might be the first time we all shot on the same squad, except for Tyler and I. We shoot together all the time. So it was interesting to kind of, so I've coached Daniel. Daniel was my hardest project for sure, because Daniel has a ton of talent.
Here we go.
And I had to not tell him how to shoot at nationals. I had to really contain and hold myself back, because I consider Daniel a friend, and he's been in one of my classes, and I'm like, never mind, I'm here for me. Right. So as who I am, it's very difficult to shut that coach off. So there was a couple pep talks. We had some talks here and there. Some of them might be on video. Thanks to Paul, who's walking around having me give him a pep talk, during nationals. But I'm super interested in how you guys kind of, well, let's start off with how you prepared for nationals. So I wanted to get each one of your opinions on how you prepared. And Tyler, I'm gonna have you go last. Everybody will go, and then you'll go. All right. So first we'll start with Daniel. What did you do to get your equipment ready? Let's start off with equipment, because that's usually where most people really struggle in just the equipment alone.
Well, really, I didn't change anything leading up to it. The last thing I changed was grips, like in March. So for a solid 6 months or so, I didn't change any part of my equipment. That being said, I had a lot of kind of issues over that time frame. I was still working through some mag things and some feeding issues. So kind of figured some of those things out right leading up to nationals. So fortunately, I didn't have any issues with ammunition. I caused some malfunctions. I think pretty much all of them were caused by me. But no, I mean, between holster, mag carriers, anything, I didn't touch anything for a solid 3 months. So
what was the malfunction that you caused? How do you feel like you were causing it?
Yeah. So the one of them, I think it was stage 13, 14, something like that. Yeah, I was like railing. It was probably my best stage, like just felt super solid with all the hits and everything. And I didn't see the mag all the way. So that was one of the things. Yeah, it was an unloaded start. I think I took one round off the top. Just so it would seat normally, like I always do. But yeah, I didn't hit it in on the way. So
was that our first stage of day 3?
No, it was the third stage of day 3.
Okay.
So
right.
the first one I did struggle. You do remember that too.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a mag issue. But anyway, so yeah.
Okay. So this is kind of this should be a reoccurring theme. Except for me, I think I'm the only one who changes stuff right before nationals. And I'll explain why I do. I'll explain why I do that. But what Daniel just said is very important. Do not touch your equipment before nationals. It should be ready before nationals. So Ryan, go ahead, bro. How do you prepare for nationals with your equipment?
So as far as my equipment goes, I really haven't changed anything in probably 6 months. I shot limited all the way up to the South Carolina State Championship, then jumped over to CO, and my gear stayed exactly the same as it was. Only change I made was 3 months ago. I switched from the Seymour. I'm going to get there, Daniel. I changed from a Seymour optic to a Hollow Sun. Went with the 507 comp. Went for the smaller dot, which I prefer. Other than that, my equipment stayed the same ammo, same everything across the board. And what Daniel's bringing up there is actually going into day 3, I changed my holster mount. I had a Lee holster hanger, was having some issues with it, and went to the vendor area, talked to Henning, and bought one of his holster mounts and the T1000, and I actually put it on the night before day 3 in the hotel room. Did about 150 draws, got locked in and showed up, shot day 3, and actually day 3 was my best day of shooting, so it didn't affect me too much.
Yeah, that's the best halter mount, but dude, love that. The Henning stuff is great. So,
But to your point, I tried to warn him. I was like, dude, don't change anything.
He was.
Well,
he was
I will say, go ahead. Say it again, Ron.
I said, yeah. He was telling me how big of a mistake I was making the entire time I was doing it while I was dry firing with it in the hotel room.
I will say though, if you're going to make a change, bro, a holster mount is not going to hurt you too bad, because it's really just about finding the same angle that you already had, and that's about it. You know, that's just what you're looking for. So if you change that angle or move that angle, that's where you're going to have some issues. But you know, again, 150 draws is, you should be pretty locked in if your skill level it's a draw is a draw at that point. It's just making sure angles and everything are back where they're supposed to be. So, yeah, I get that. I changed my mags and my mag pouches and my holster angle, or my holster release, about 2 years ago at Carry Optics Nationals. It was such a bad year, and I said, fuck it, I'm just going to change it. And dude, it was the best reloads I've ever had in my life. Even though I wasn't supposed to reload twice on that stage, I did anyway. And they were like, dude, that was the best mess up I've ever seen. I was like, man, these mag pouches are the shit. But I mean, my match was, you know, dude, if I'm not winning, you know, whatever, let's go. You know, it's just kind of how my whole opinion is about it anyway.
You're having
Like
a lot
whole,
of jams on that one.
yeah, taking second is, yes, I had a lot of issues that year. So I definitely had some equipment issues there for sure. So, all right, Paul, how about you, bro?
As far as equipment, I didn't actually change anything prior, but I did make significant changes. I switched platforms completely. I was shooting the X5, and I had targeted nationals as soon as I started shooting USPSA. I wanted to shoot for a year, go to nationals, and let that be the telltale of what the year did. Like what every match that I shoot is in anticipation to shoot nationals. So about halfway through the year, I switched to the Shadow, just based off of everybody's recommendation. And my lockup on my SIG was like really sloppy, had like 50,000 rounds on it, and you know, I was throwing bad hits way down the range, so it was
Always
really
the
good
gun,
to change.
bro. Always the gun, never the shooter. It's always that lockup, bro. It's the lockup. Every gun's lockup is jacked up when you get it.
So it was totally like a combination of me and the gun. But we bagged it. We bagged it because I was
You couldn't get your kill shot with that?
No, I can throw the kill shot with that guy all day long. Like, you know what I mean? You got to throw that thing out there. Actually better with that one. But no, I didn't change anything as far as you know, like average equipment. I tried to come into nationals and just treat it like I do every other match, and same for equipment.
Yeah, man. So you being so new, did you kind of take advice from other people about how to prepare for nationals when it comes to gear or anything like that? Or did you just kind of be like, all right, just don't change anything, everything's good, I'm locked in? Or
yeah, I mean, so I'm really fortunate, you know, I mean, I get to shoot every weekend, usually with Tyler and Daniel and Ryan and Matt and DJ. I'm fortunate in my little area to have such high level shooters that I get to go to locals with. And so they were able to get in my ear way before Nats even registration was open, and kind of tune me up to what to expect. And but no, I mean, I treated it. I mean, I don't see why. I mean, it's crazy. Like, is it a thing where are people changing shit right before Nats? Because like that seems
yeah. That's why we're having, honestly, like, no joke. This is why this is one of the starting conversations, because people will literally switch a gun. I mean, they will trade a gun like literally 2 weeks before they shoot nationals. And I mean, Wait. I'll wait till I get into mine because I did change some equipment. But I'll explain the equipment that I changed. But yes, 100%. It's 100% legitimate that people change their gear.
Mm.
I mean, I know it's wild, but some guys just walk up and go, "Hey, cool, man. I've been shooting PCC for like 7 months, and I'm gonna go pick up a Karyoptis gun and give the match a shot." Now, that being said, that's a little different than changing equipment, right? That's just somebody who's like, "Cool, I got in. I'm gonna go shoot this now," and they just don't. They're just there for fun, right? They're not trying to compete at that point. But yeah, people change shit constantly. So, DJ, how about you, man?
So
Actually, I know you changed equipment.
yeah, you can tell. Yeah, you know,
I know you changed equipment.
What that is.
Yeah, but no, before Nats, the only thing I actually did change was my optic. I was running the SRO like most people do on my Shadow 2. And then I got reached out to by Swamp Fox 6 months ago. And they're like, we have this Justice 2. We want to see, you know, someone that's actually going to use it and shoot and get a lot of rounds down range and see what they think about it. So I put that on there and I ran that the whole time leading up to nationals. And I made sure that I shot enough locals like within a 2-3 week period to torture test it in a way to see if it was going to hold zero and all of that before reaching the match. And it did fine, but that's the only thing I actually changed equipment wise. Ammo same, the grips the same, belt the same, angle, everything, nothing changed. Because I've been shooting Karyoptics the whole time.
Yeah.
Pretty much since I've started. So I try to keep my equipment the same as much as possible.
So you shot limited optics. You shot the Alien from Lago Arms at South Carolina, and then immediately switched. We actually had that conversation. So that was what 4 months, I think. March, April, May, June, July, almost 5 months of a change. That's if you're going to change equipment, that's when you do it. When you have plenty of chance to shoot rounds and really get used to that gun. Because I remember we talked and you were like, bro, this is not even close to the same what I'm used to. When I go back to the other gun, I got to start all over again. I was like, it's a good time to change.
Yeah, that was a very weird change. Like right now, switching back, getting ready for Handgun Nationals. Yeah. That first match with the Alien again after Nats, oh my God.
It's ugly.
It was Delta and Mike City out here. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I shot more no shoots in the past 3 matches than I have all year. So it was like I gotta get used to it. But yeah, I mean, when you change, like you said, it's gonna take some time to get acclimated. It's a completely different platform, completely different everything. So
the crazy part, and that's a more accurate gun. That's probably a more accurate gun, and then it did that. You know, it's pretty wild.
I did that.
Yeah, right. No, I understand. Like, but what most people don't understand, and you know, I've had this conversation quite a bit about switching equipment because I do it a lot. But I always give myself time. So like, that's how I understood, like when you switched, I was like, bro, you got plenty of time now. Because I usually only need about 2 weeks. Now that's 2 weeks of me actually really practicing, not just 2 weeks of cool, I'm just going to hold the gun. I mean, actually shooting the gun, understanding the recoil management and how that stuff's going to work. But anytime you switch grips, not guns, but grips, it could be something as simple as it has more of a rounded backstrap. That is a massive difference in how you hold the gun. If I switch to a Glock, I honestly think if going to a Glock would be easier because it's so extreme. So you just know, okay, just hammer forward, you know, wrist forward. But on a gun that has a slight change, that's when the small details really jack you up because it's like, well, I'm holding the gun the same. How come it's not the same? Like the grip is close, but it's not the same, right? And that's where you see the biggest difference. Yeah.
I was having a difference of a quarter of an inch in the dot from the Alien to the Shadow. So I went back to the Alien, I'm presenting, and then I would literally just have to go like that, and then I could find the dot again. But every time after a reload, I would press out, it was gone. I'm like, where the hell is the dot at? Then I'm like, oh, you got to do that literal quarter of an inch forward, and it's back again. So that was causing me a lot of problems in those first couple matches.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Tyler?
Oh, shit. So I made one major change in the last few months, then one minor change. It's weird doing this again, but no excuses. But for whatever reason, at most majors I get rained on, and then it messes up my SRO, and it's been pissing me off. And I don't want to, like, instead of just complaining about it, I finally said, fuck it, I'm going to do something. And so I got a 509T, a Valhalla Sun. So now I don't even care if it rains on me anymore. But but you know, the window is a little smaller. It's been kind of an adjustment trying to get the new index, like you said. You know, minor little differences, like with my draw. You know, like the different angle. You know, sometimes I feel like I have to find the dot again, but at least you know, I started doing it. When was the South Carolina match? March. So I mean, I've had a few months to kind of mess with it, and I've used it at all the locals, and I feel like I've gotten used to it again. But it sits a little higher up than the SRO does. And then I switched to the lockjaw grips, so they're like really aggressive. You can't even see that, but the which, you know, I at all the locals has been fine, but I didn't realize until we did the 3-day match that I know you heard me complain about it, man. My fucking fingers were like tore up. Yeah, like I was like, damn, these are good for one day, but not 3 days in a row. So
I love the lockjaws.
That just says a lot
I'll-
about that just says a lot about how you guys don't practice very much.
Yeah, I was gonna
Exactly.
say, it doesn't
My
dry
hands are
fire with
fine.
practice.
true.
So
But,
I mean,
I mean,
we'll get
yeah.
into that about the lockjaws real quick, dude. Those things are awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
awesome for 30 rounds. And then, dude, I have construction hands still, right? I used kettlebells. I work out quite a bit, so like my hands are super rough and tough. And I'll tell you right now, the bogeys that I use from Lock Cribs, they're destroying my hands, like destroying my
Weird.
hands. If I shoot 1,000 rounds, like which I tend to do a lot when I go to practice, like, bro, I don't know how the hell you guys do anything more aggressive than the bogey grips. Like, it's struggle to dry fire after I shoot 1,000 rounds at practice the next day. So, like, when I saw you, I was like, bro, you're crazy. Like, that sounds like a lot of black tape or some kind of tape would be putting on that damn grip while I'm not actually shooting it. So,
And I mean, so I did on like the 3rd day, I put some tape just on the grip. And I mean, and then it solved the problem, right?
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know, you don't need to use as much like pro grip when your grip is grippy, but
yeah.
but I've kind of started reconsidering maybe, like, you know, for multiple day matches, like maybe not putting on such an aggressive grip and then just using more pro grip. So,
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea to have that with you either. So like, let's just say you're gonna have a rainy stage or rainy day. Like that's
Yeah,
probably
this
the
helps a
best
lot.
grip in the world during rain.
It's one of the main reasons. Like, I
Yeah.
went full like rain proof was kind of my goal, right? Because like that was the other thing. Like I had my
lose another match because of a raindrop
Yeah.
ever again.
But that
He's
being
never gonna
said,
live South
all
Carolina
credit where
down.
it's due. You whooped my
No,
ass
it's
at
just
that
hilarious,
match, so
dude. It's just
there's
I
credit.
don't disagree with any of that. Because right now you have literally, I mean, you have had some pretty big matches that have just been rained on you late, and it just seems like they're back to back to back, right? Like it has happened that way. So nationals, we had a little bit of rain. Luckily, we kind of
Yeah, the rain
shot
was
in
not bad at
between the
all.
rain. Yeah, we kind of shot in between the rain. We got lucky. I think none of us shot with bags on, the entire squad, right? We didn't have a single stage with a bag on. Even when it started raining, it kind of quit before we actually shot, so they never even had to put the bags on. So we got pretty
Thank
fortunate
God.
at nationals because the day it rained, we had got out of the hard stuff already. We were on kind of the easier, like I would say closer. I don't want to say
Yeah.
easier, but closer stuff, to where we weren't shooting 30-yard, 35, 40-yard no shoots in bags. That would have been terrible, dude. Like, because you just a bag just looks like a bag. Like there's no separation, dude, at all, right? So it's like just hope that you're hitting that plastic as it whips in the wind. Yeah. So
Are
we
those
got very,
waterproof
very
targets
lucky.
still on the way?
I think
Still
it's
in
like
a
the
container
Boston Tea
somewhere?
Party, dude. I think they just dumped them in the ocean.
They were never
Rumor has
coming.
it they're
Yeah,
still on the way.
I don't think they made it, bro. Just so you're saying. So, and come to find out, I
Fucking
actually
thing.
hated those targets when I first saw them because, and I didn't know this at the time. I was able to see those did we get them in South Carolina? I think we got them in South Carolina. We had them to kind of look at them. And we had the small pack, like the really small ones. And I was talking to Todd about it. And I was like, bro, these are awesome, but these are not good for shooting because you can't see the perf. Well, come to find out, they have perfs on the white side, and then which is considered a no-shoot target. And then they have a perf on the brown side, so they never break the actual surface. So that you have to buy 2 packages of different targets. which
Uh,
makes sense. That's why they're waterproof. Anytime you break that perf and you poke holes in it, you're going to give water opportunity to get in there. So these things, if you didn't have the correct target, which unfortunately we had the brown that were no shoot targets, so I didn't know that. And I'm like, bro, these are terrible.
Yeah.
How the hell you score it? So it
Yeah,
ended
it
up
was
being that they
odd
had them.
to see it
So
in person. Yeah.
yeah, it would.
'Cause I was like, why is the perf on the white side? I was like, what?
Yeah, I have a feeling that we will not see waterproof targets at nationals ever.
Ever.
I just think financially and the main amount of pain in the ass it is to get them right now, I just think manufacturers have given up. I don't think enough people are buying them. I just,
We
from
just
what
need to
I've heard
figure
so
out which
far, it's not there.
hairspray company they're going to use, and we buy some stock.
Maybe some Aquanet, dude. That shit's pretty solid. It's been around for
Aquanet,
100
dude.
years. So just get that stuff. It's cheap, big cans. There you go,
Like
rock and
to
roll. So, but yeah, it's nuts. But
paste
okay.
it and then spray it.
Yeah. just paste it and spray it. Perfect. All right. So we talked about equipment. All right, let's talk about practice. Oh, whoa. I forgot to talk about my equipment because I know somebody's going to ask me about, what did I change? All right. So what did I change at nationals? I bought a backup gun. Let me rephrase that. I bought a match gun. So the gun that I have been shooting now, I'm shooting a Walther PDP since a lot of you are asking. I'm now shooting a Walther, and no, I'm not sponsored because whatever. I love that gun, and I have shot a lot of bullets out of the first gun. I've shot it since December. So you could imagine I have shot that gun a lot. I have done all my classes. I probably have close to 25,000 rounds out of that gun already. I kind of went through some of my primers the other day and realized like how much I've been shooting. Could be why I did okay at nationals, because I've been practicing a lot and I've had some major breakthroughs this year. And that gun has had a lot of bullets. Well, last year, a lot of you don't know, I had a lot of equipment issue, and I didn't talk about it a whole lot because it's just an excuse. Nobody gives a shit. And I had lots of jams and lots of issues because I'm a dumbass and don't count my classes for round count. And I had a lot of classes last year, and I shot a shit ton of bullets out of that gun. So when I get to nationals, I'm like, cool, recoil springs all set. Well, that striker fire has a little springy thing in it, and it went bad. And when it went bad, it went all bad. So, but again, whatever, it is what it is. And I did not have a backup gun. I just been shooting the same gun because it worked fine. I didn't even have a lot of rounds out of that, but enough that I was concerned, obviously. But I had a lot of rounds out of it and didn't realize it. So I bought a second gun this time. Thanks to Midwest Shooting Center out of Ohio. Thank you guys. You guys are the best because they are hard to find. So if you're looking for a gun, go check those guys out. They're out of Ohio area. So when I picked up that gun about 2 weeks before nationals, and I shot 5,000 rounds out of that gun in 2 weeks. So I knew it worked. The only thing I had to change basically was the battery on my dot. Question: how many of you changed your battery before nationals? 2. Look at these rookies over here, these noobs. So
if it will go wrong, it will at nationals.
Yes.
Exactly.
I want you to realize something. Also, think about this for a second. You should do this before every area match, before every match that matters. And if you guys say locals, I'm going to slap you through the screen. You should change your battery before every match, because I want you to realize something. And it's so funny. I actually have a pack of batteries sitting right here. For $5, $10, $12, whatever the economy is, just absolutely jack these batteries up for right now, because I know they're super expensive. You will save yourself thousands of dollars of all that practice and all that work you did to go to nationals and have a $4 battery go dead on you in the middle of a 150-point stage. And it literally is take 2 screws out, pop a new battery in, close it, make sure it works, because we all know how battery trays are like the most robust thing in a dot, and they seem to crumble as soon as you take the battery out. But always make sure that that connection works and that you've actually shot that new battery before you go to the nationals, because what happens is, let's just say you lose a screw. Let's just say you lose the battery connection, whatever it is. Well, you got to give yourself a little time to get those parts. Unfortunately for dots and grip screws and all those things, they are not you can't just go to Home Depot and grab one of those. So it's better to make sure all that stuff is secured and ready to go before nationals. And it literally costs $4 to put a new battery in. It's literally 10 seconds of your work.
Well,
So
the beauty of the Hollow Sun is I can take the battery out and it still works.
nice.
Mhm.
I wouldn't
You
trust
just
that shit no
can't-
matter what.
Can it sideways
I'm
a little
putting
bit.
both in there.
All you got to do is can it sideways a little bit, index,
That's
and
it.
hit 'em with a kick shot.
Take the
That's
kill
it. There you
shot
go.
with
Kill
Paul,
shot.
dude.
So
Hell
I'm surprised
yeah.
Paul doesn't have two. I'm surprised Paul doesn't have 2 dots, one for each eye when he turns it sideways and just double dot it.
I do actually.
You just double dot that bad boy.
You're locking in, dude.
So I don't, dude. All right. So before we continue on, can you just tell how that happened at nationals? I just heard kill shot and it killed me. So Paul, first of all, is a complete clown at the match. It's awesome. Like he keeps it loose, has a good time. Everybody's laughing. Dude, this was one of the best matches I've ever gone to squad wise, because man, we just talk so much shit to each other. It was hilarious. Now, don't get me wrong. Nobody messed with each other before they shot. Everybody let themselves be. Everybody took it serious when it was time. But before that, man, everybody kept it loose. And it was just one of the best squads I'd ever shot on. So Paul, how did that happen? Because I heard that in the middle of you walking around and I'm just like, did he just say kill shot? Just lost it in the middle of the match.
Yeah. Well, first off, you're welcome. Okay. But it was the damn prone stage. And that prone stage was like so underestimated. And as soon as you broke around that first wall, like those gaps just closed on you so fast. And I was kind of pushing the pace and I walked right past the target. So I had to like pop back out and I'm shooting like this. And then I get done with the stage and I'm coming back there and Daniel's talking to me about it. And I was like, yeah, I had the damn kill shot trying to get it. And then you heard it and you were like, kill shot. Oh shit. Like it just went really epic. And I haven't lived that down. Which is cool. Like I own it. Like it's
God, just
my
remember,
squad.
you spend thousands of dollars to get one kill shot. That's all you need. You
Yes, sir.
just
I
need
got
one
two.
story to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
That needs to go in your jersey from now on too.
I'm
Okay.
telling you, I've got a lot of things going on. 25 hit factor. I'm a big deal. My jersey's gonna be slapped graffitied out by the time I'm done with it.
So Ryan has like hours of video of us just talking shit after every time he shoots. It just Paul's walking around. So all right, I got to show you his videography skills. So Ryan goes, all right, man, make it cinematic. Or maybe I said, make it cinematic. So I turn around and maybe I can stand up in here. Maybe I'll just do this. So he's holding the phone like this. And throughout the Ryan's entire run, he's going like this with the camera. And I'm going, dude, I hope to God your stabilization is on, because you are going to have nothing but just a shaky screen. Because he's like, bro, I made it cinematic. He told me cinematic.
So Ryan fucking comes up to me and he's like, look, I need that cinematic. And he did like this. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. You know what I mean? And he's like,
Oh,
what?
my
He's making ready. And I've got his fucking phone. And I'm like, all right, so he's like coming and moving. I'm trying to follow his ass and shit like a movie. And as soon as I get done, Tom's like, next time you're fucking videoing, I'm gonna video you videoing. That shit was ridiculous. I'm like, uh-oh. And then he was like, what'd you do? Ryan's like, what'd you do with my video? And I'm like, I don't know what cinematic is, man. That shit was hilarious. And then Ryan gets me back, and then that's when I get you on there going, this is fucking cinematic. I'm like, oh man, that shit was so good. Like, I was a long day, and I saw that video at like 11 o'clock that night, and it was hilarious,
I'm glad that I took it so serious.
Went full Michael Bay
That shit
with
was
it, dude.
great, dude.
Oh my God. I will tell you though.
gotta
So
say,
hashtag.
There's a lot of that content from our back and forth during that match that I would love to post to YouTube. They would immediately ban the video and kick it if I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm still trying to pretend to be professional. Dude, you guys honestly are the worst squad for me to shoot with, because I just go, these are my friends. I get to just be me. I don't have to. I can just say whatever I want.
And then we had DJ just twerking the whole damn time.
Oh
all
my
3
God,
days.
dude! No,
my
no, no.
God.
We're not going to talk about that. That is
No.
not PG on this.
No, and you, hold on,
podcast.
and you got to pay for that. You can't talk about that.
Yeah,
for free.
DJ has. We
That's
found
right.
out he has an OnlyFans, and if he doesn't, whatever he was doing on the range was OnlyFans worthy.
That's right.
Oh, that was hilarious. All right.
Man.
Let's try to get back on. See, this is, guys, just so you know, this is what it was like to shoot. It was just a big bunch of shit talk the whole time we were there. All right.
Yeah.
Equipment, practice before nationals. Oh, okay. Practice before nationals. What did you do to prepare? Did we even ask that question yet? Or do we?
No.
All
No,
right.
we didn't answer the question.
Daniel, go.
All right, so me not having ever shot a nationals honestly didn't really do much different. I saw like one video you posted about doing some 25, 30, 40-yard shots, and then I was like, okay, well maybe I should do that. So I practiced maybe 2 sessions of like long distance stuff to prepare for nationals. So in hindsight, obviously I learned a lot about what I need to prepare for, but I mean, really and truly, I did, I kept shooting a lot of locals. So I was shooting almost every weekend leading up to it. So making sure that I got a local match. During those local matches, I was just focusing on execution. I made sure that I didn't do anything new. So like try not to push speed, try not to kind of increase the skill or, go crazy hard on draws, trying to speed those things up. I just tried to execute. So that's kind of what I did. I just executed. Even in my practice, I tried to like set up kind of stage style stuff and just execute on it and do it over and over and just kind of try to stay at that level. So that's pretty much what I did for at least 6 weeks.
Nice. So I'll ask this per person. So just so I can finish up, because that was great. Would you change your practice, or would you do less locals and try to find time for practice now that you've shot nationals?
Yeah. So me and Ryan are on a group chat. He's probably laughing because I messaged him today and I was talking about like schedule leading up, kind of, we got Area 5 and Area 6 coming up. So I'm still kind of in the season, right? And that's one of the things I was saying was like, I don't need to try to catch every local. Like that's not important. I need to kind of hone some skills. I need to, try to set aside days where I actually skip a local and do some practice. So yeah, I would definitely change that. I don't feel like I have to, I don't think shooting a local makes me better. It's just a gauge of like where I'm at. And obviously the national stages are quite a bit different. So I would have done a lot of things different with that, but yeah, for sure would have done more training. So the cool thing was I got home and I had a range waiting on me. So I'll throw that in there. I was actually showing you guys pictures and stuff during the 3 days of shooting, but yeah, so I have a range in my backyard, but I can only shoot one direction. So while I was gone, I actually had kind of a local guy that does some site work and stuff actually set up bays for me. So I have one bay where I can shoot 180 degrees. So I've been hitting that thing pretty hard recently.
What's your distance that you have available to you?
Well, the cool thing is like I can, if I just shoot straight, like I can shoot 300 yards into it, like, yeah, easily. So, obviously not with a pistol, but yeah,
Yeah, right, dude, you
the
got
bay
this.
itself is probably like 30 yards deep. So I'd have to back
Nice.
out of it to
Yeah,
shoot like longer distance, but yeah.
Wait till you dedicate yourself to some long distance. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna be like, man, this close shit is a joke. Like, I can't believe I practiced
Oh
this so
yeah.
much.
I'm already seeing it. Yeah.
Long distance will teach you very quickly your fundamentals too. Like, you either have good fundamentals or you don't. When you get to that long distance, that millimeter of a yank, it becomes 2 feet off the target, or a Delta mic, and you're like, "What, dude? I had red dot." Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did,
Yeah,
but you didn't
really,
finish it.
It really hones in your vision. I felt like,
Yeah.
where I was like trying to aim, I felt like immediately after nationals, I was like, I just hit it pretty hard. And like, I'm trying to aim at like this small thing and I'm trying to like time it and all this crap. And like, I don't need any of that. I just need to look at the spot and trust it and just have good fundamentals and
Yeah.
it'll be there. So
Ryan, how about you, man? What was your prep for Nats?
So I didn't. So my prep stayed the same as my normal prep. Luckily, the career field I'm in, that I have a day during the week where I can practice. That every Friday's my live fire day, 250 to 300 rounds every Friday. I try to hit locals on the weekend, so I'm not going to change up too much of that. My prep was kind of the same as Daniel's. I focused on execution. I didn't try to push outside my comfort zone. A few weeks before a match is not the time to develop new skill. It's just time to be able to execute the skill that you have on demand, repeat it every time. So that was my focus. Set up stage style practice in my live fire. Run it one way starting here, then completely change it. Run it from here. Just get that execution on demand down. I did do quite a bit of distance shooting leading up to it. One thing I would have changed there is I would have put partials on it and got some IPSC targets, because I used all open USPSA targets 40 yards, and I was 100% comfortable in those. And you start throwing IPSC targets out there that's got a no shoot on the front of it, it changes it a little bit. Luckily for me, I only had two mics on the distance targets at Nats. Love to have both of those back. One on my dot was loose, but I did work on some distance. Nothing really changed in my dry fire.
Okay.
Two 15-minute sessions a day, every day. And then my same routine, and then just hitting up the locals.
All right. Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I almost forgot. So Ryan, being brand new to nationals, I guess pretty new to the sport, honestly, because you would have known this, goes up. No, and that's not me trash talking, guys. Listen, the only way you truly learn in this sport is the experience of getting screwed. Honestly, like he screwed himself because he didn't know the rule. So he walks up to the line. Did you see it when you turned the dot on? Is that how, or like adjusted the dot? Is that how you felt it?
Yeah. As I loaded the gun, when I racked it, I felt an additional movement, and I reached and grabbed the optic and felt the wiggle. And honestly, if it would have been toward the beginning of the day, I probably would have asked, hey, can I come off the line? But I saw my optic was loose. It was the last stage of the day. There was only one really far shot on that stage. And in my mind, I said, fuck it, let's roll it.
I got this. I'll just hold it and kill shot it.
Just kill shot all over it. I only took one mic on the stage with a loose optic with a 40-yard target. So
yes. Yeah. So just so you guys know, if you have an equipment issue, you can look at the range officer and say, hey, man, listen, my dot isn't working. My button isn't working. It doesn't really matter. You just tell them you have an equipment issue, and you will unload, show clear, make the range safe, and you will walk back and be able to fix your equipment. Again, dude, so thousands of dollars.
Last weekend.
Say that again.
You talk about that, and I went and took an RO class last weekend just to, hey, I'm going to nationals now and other rules.
Yeah. You learn a lot in those RO classes. It's just, unfortunately, you're not going to learn the things that are not in that class, right? You don't really learn those things in that you only learn those things when you have those experiences, like RO interference, and none of that's in that class. It all comes from you having it happen in the middle of the match. Or like right now, as a good example is, I guarantee you in that class, and did you tell them that story?
Yes.
Yep. Because guess what? It wasn't going to be brought up in that class, right? It's just one of those scenarios. They can't cover everything. It's just how it is. But when you tell them, they're like, well, of course. Why didn't you know that? I'm like, well, it's never happened before. My dot has never just started spinning 360 while I make ready. So it's like, until you have those experiences, and I hate to say this, that's one of the best things about nationals is it really tests everything, right? Like right then and there, it would have been like, hey man, my optic is, dude, you're lucky I didn't hear that. I would immediately told you to stop. I'm like, hey, his shit's broken, right? I would have said something. I just didn't know, That is one thing I'll say about nationals and all the area matches we've been hitting all these majors is each one, like there's such a big list of things that the sport is completely different. When you're actually shooting majors, that each match, there's just these small little things that they add up and they affect you, but you're not going to learn at a local. You're not going to learn just reading the rule book, but going and having those experiences, I can tell it's just you're making huge leaps in your ability and your knowledge as a competitor. Yeah, you know how much shit I caught? You know how much shit I caught when I made a post saying that if you don't go to a nationals, you really don't know what kind of shooter you are. I mean, dude, people just absolutely thought I was people calling me an elitist. They're like, oh man, he's being a dick and he thinks he's better than everybody else. I'm like, no, like, dude, I used to do nothing but locals, and I was lucky because I started in Florida. And at the time when I started, everything was in Florida. All the nationals was in Florida. Area 6 was in Florida. I mean, Florida State was in Florida. Like everything was in Florida. So I never had to travel, right? So I had an opportunity to go to nationals every single year. Even if I sucked, it was literally 2 hours from my house. So I was able to drive to that match. The first nationals I ever went to, I was absolutely terrible. I think I had 27 mics. It was terrible. And I was like, oh, I'm not good. Like, because 6 stages, I could hold that shit together. You know, I could hold it together for 6 stages, but 21, woo, that was a whole nother lesson of you suck. Right. And it wasn't so much that it wasn't that it was telling me I suck. It was like, hey man, you have a lot of weaknesses, like a lot of weaknesses. So even if you have great shooting skill, I couldn't hold it together for 21 stages mentally. Like I would always be like, oh man, I had a mic on the last stage. I got to push. Dumbass. Now you got 4 mics because you pushed and you're only on stage 2. Like I remember trying to win the nationals on my first stage. No, doesn't work. Hell, it doesn't even work if you try that on the last stage, right? You got to really keep it wired tight for 21. And that's why nationals is just amazing, right? It holds you accountable for every bullet. Every bullet will change your placement very quickly. All right, Paul.
So man, I actually like really put out a game plan about 3 months prior to nationals to work on some things. It actually started with my platform switch. When I moved to the Shadow, it highlighted a lot of things that I was getting away with the Striker Fire that I was like really familiar with. And I noticed immediately that I had a ton of fundamental issues, like just handgun, just, you know, no moving, no shooting, no nothing. Like I got the worst trigger pull in the game, right? Like I'm a slapper. And my grip would go to shit like so fast. And like this is I'm an ex, you know, tactical guy. So we did build drills and everything. And I can hold it together for 6, but it's like coming off of a mag change, like all of a sudden, like I'm so worried about, you know, what I'm doing after that and this array to that array and trying to blend stages. So it's like grip is the first thing that went to shit for me. And it's crazy because that's like probably one of my best fundamentals. And then I started taking that, and then 3 months before, so I've really harped on fundamentals when I moved platform and really tried to work on some things, and I still am, and I still got a lot of issues, but so I would take a 2 or 3 locals and then evaluate what happened, and then work on those, and I just kept. It's the same thing that we always do, except for like the last like 6 weeks. I was shooting really good at locals. Like I'm like going to all local with like no deltas, no mics, right? And I'm like, hell, I'm not going fast enough. So, and then, you know, trying to really push the vision, knowing that 21 stages being 4 seconds behind everybody, it's a killer. And I really pushed speed, didn't worry about hits, didn't worry about nothing, just tried to really force my vision to catch up with me moving at a faster pace. And then about 3 weeks before nationals, I dialed it back and tried to just let all that sink in. And then I just went and shot and had fun, like at a local. It's just shooting with the boys on the weekend, and then took that same mentality right into nationals. Like that was I actually planned that like a couple of months beforehand, but the plan wasn't necessarily to work on that particularly. It was to just go off of what I'm seeing based off of my locals after, you know, 1 or 2, and then kind of dictate my training at that point. I'm really fortunate. Like one of my sponsors is a range right here, one of my local range, an indoor range, and they'll close a room and let me get in front of the stalls and really set up stuff. And then it was like the busiest 2 months at work, and I just didn't have time. So my live fire went down, and well, like, man, you know, I'm still so new to the game, like just common manipulation of the firearm system, my belt, you know, just mag changes, just like transitions, exits. Like I can work a lot of that in dry fire. So like not live firing wasn't necessarily killing me. But that was what I did. You know, I mean, I treat all locals as practice. Like I mean, I'd be lying if I said that like I don't want to win, but like I don't care about that at the end of the day. Like I just look at what happened. Did I shoot good? Did I shoot bad? And what was I working on? And did I execute what I planned to work on? You know, and I honestly, man, I mean, I treated nationals the same exact way. Like I went up there. It's not like I'm about to win first place my first year. And I needed it for the experience as well as to size me up where I'm at. And then, man, and like you said, dude, I learned so much of that match. My first two, I think I've had 2 locals since I've been back. And I haven't even done anything, but you could see me elevate as a shooter.
They're your best matches. The 2 matches after nationals have been the best matches you've done, period, since you started.
Yeah.
I wonder
He's
why.
been really,
I wonder why.
because I got coached by Tom Castro.
No. I wonder why. It's because you had 21 stages to kind of tell you what is important to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Anybody
the biggest problem is shooting 6 stages is a great example. So if Tyler and I shoot against each other at a local match, it could be a crapshoot. There's no telling who's going to win that match because there's no gap. There's no space, right? I mean, you have to shoot perfect at that level with 6 stages, right? At 21 stages, bro, you're allowed a mistake here and there, but you don't realize that as you go into your local match, right? Like, so again, using a local as practice is giant. Like, that's amazing that you can do that. But most people can't let it go because that means you're going to fail, right? We've been taught since we were little kids that we're going to fail or that we're not allowed to fail. Dude, you got to get those A's. You know, you can't mess up on that test, even though you're supposed to know all this stuff. Or when you're in football, man, you can't let that kid get behind you. It's like, but that's when you learn the most. So like, and I don't want to forget this because I want to go back to this about, you said something about slowing down. I don't like that term. I never use that term. That literally makes me chew back and swallow grossness in my mouth when I hear slow down. Why were you going so fast that you couldn't shoot at that speed? Right. So just when you say slow down, you know what that means? That means you're going too fast in the shooting and should be doing the other things faster already. Shooting's the slowest thing we do. Right. So right now, if you have to slow down to shoot, you were probably shooting too fast anyway. Right. Because what controls your shooting? Your dot. Your sights control your shooting, but most people don't know that. Most people think, man, if I don't shoot fast, I'm going to be slow. Well, if you exit earlier and get your gun up sooner and you shoot before everybody else, you get to shoot slow and still be fast. Right. So when I hear somebody say, oh, I'm practicing, and then right before nationals, I slowed down. What? You just lost already. Right. Like ask Tyler. Tyler, did you slow down for nationals?
Hell no.
But his name's Turbo.
That doesn't mean shit. You know what? It doesn't mean shit. I bet you if you ask Tyler if he slowed down, no, but I guarantee you he aimed at that same speed, right? The thing is everybody instantly goes to take your foot off the gas pedal. Ask any of the top shooters if they slowed down to shoot. No, they just executed the fundamentals of the shooting so they could leave sooner or get the gun up sooner, right? That's the key. But again, in your mind, you instantly went slow down. Does that make sense? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just understanding that that's the wrong mindset because time always matters. Time matters in this sport. I don't give a shit. Like if you look at Tyler and I's time, our day one was not good. We did not have a good day one. And that's where we lost all of our time on the match. If you look at day 2 and 3, we were right there on every stage. We were right in the hunt, but day one murdered us. Do you think Tyler and I slowed down? No, I just shot the shit. I shot an extra 100 rounds on day one. I posted a stage the other day. I shot 6 makeup shots on targets I could shake hands with. I was like, what the hell?
So, as a testament to that, I had some shitty hits and I went and looked in my first 2 days, like Tyler even came to me and was like, dude, where's your aggression? You're super conservative. Like you shoot like a bitch. Don't do that. But I went back and looked at the times, and if I just moved myself to like a second and a half off of him, like I am at most matches, local matches, I'm a second half to 2 seconds behind him. If I change that across the stage, across the 20 stages, I go from 130th to 74th.
Interesting.
with,
By
with the
just
same shooting hits.
being more aggression. Yeah, just being more
Yeah.
aggressive.
Well,
Listen,
I mean, that's the balance, right? That we're all trying to teeter on, and I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, I mean, I get ahead of myself. I've told myself rushing gets you nowhere fast. Like I know that I think time is the most crucial variable, and I know it's stage to stage, but I think at the end of the match, especially at 21, that's why I tried to go fast. But so I may word that like wrong. Like I went back to shooting like my pace, because at the locals, like I was rushing, I was doing things, and like what you say, I think is the best way to put it. It's if you can execute the fundamentals of things that eat up time, like transitions and exits, which are big factors for me. Especially on like a 140 point stage and these target, there wasn't like 3 arrays and you just transition. It's fucking a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. Yeah. Oh, fucking one over there, a little bit more, one way back there. And like, it was killing me. It kills. And that's why that's what I loved about the match is it had the potential to really train you as a shooter.
Yeah, it was a great match for that dude. Like I said earlier, I learned so much from this match just from the way it was set up, because I just constantly learned, and it was a never ending lesson, right? Like if you just missed one footstep, dude, I spent 10 minutes on a stage on day one. I spent 10 minutes working on that entry, and I still almost busted my ass. And I was so pissed that I actually went back and I was like, all right, man, I'm going to practice this shit. I'm going to change the way I have to enter. I can't enter on my normal entry. I can't do the normal crash. I'm going to crash, but I got to come in a different way, because no matter how I enter here, my big ass is sliding all over the place. So I started changing my entries, and I'll tell you what, not one single stage after that. Unfortunately, I think it was our last stage that I learned my lesson on day one, but not a single stage after that did I slip or slide or fall.
Yeah,
Recording.
dude, God dang.
All right, so now that I'm done talking shit about Paul being terrible, no.
Damn.
All right,
DJ's
so
turn.
for some reason, even though I have Zoom, it's all messed up. Oh no, dude! Now he's got
Kill shot.
now he's showing videos of the kill shot. What is the name of that
My
movie? Is
boy.
Menace?
Don't be a menace.
Don't be a menace.
Don't be a menace,
Yeah, I don't want to
yeah.
call it the real movie. That'd be everybody go looking up the wrong movie.
Exactly.
So, all right, DJ, go.
All right. So for me, I didn't get to prepare for nationals pretty much at all. I randomly got a chance to buy a house. So 7 weeks leading out to nationals, I was fully focused on that. Doing tours, going through all the financials, doing all the paperwork, and all of that leading up to nationals was my focus, plus the full-time job. So I shot at locals whenever I could, but my locals went down a lot as well leading up to nationals. I was able to teach class every once in a while to get a little extra money in the pocket. Of course, dealing with buying a house, I had to get as much cash in my pocket as I could and stuff like that. So I couldn't really, do much of anything. So leading up to nationals, I would just shot like locals, 1 or 2 locals a month. And I barely live fire trained to begin with, but then I wasn't able to do it at all leading up to it. So for me, I just went into nationals just to shoot. And you see, my goal, of course, I wanted to be top 100, and I wanted to be at least 80%, because I feel like I could do that, and I was able to achieve that. But I lost all of my points and everything as well on the last day with all the FAR targets, because I remember I said it to you at the match. I don't even remember the last time I shot a pistol 40 yards, period. Well, let alone even have a place to zero or test at that distance right now. So it was like it is what it is. And I removed 3 mics from day 3. I go from 81 to 51. No time change, no nothing. Just remove 3 mics. I go from 81 to 50.
Mics are brutal.
So I
in
was just like,
nationals.
yeah. And I was like, damn, man, if I wish I had time to do that. But once again, now, since I did shoot that match, like I said, second big one, because the first one was, fun last year. But this one taught me as well that I can keep pace with a lot of the top guys. Because me and Tyler shoot a lot more vocals together recently. And a lot of time, me and him will like swap stages. Like he'll get me, I'll get him. And it's like, oh, we're going back and forth, and I'm keeping pace with him. But I start to fall apart on the accuracy with the speed. But because I don't get to live fire train, it's hard for me to gauge that and get that dialed in, which I want to do more because, like I said, I don't get to train that much. Full-time job, construction site, long hours all day, every day, same thing. And then trying to get to as many locals as I can just to even shoot at all is hard. And then trying to buy a house in the middle of all of that on top of it was just like it was a hell of 7 weeks leading up to the match. Because I think we signed on the house. We signed and closed on the house the Monday before we left for nationals. So I didn't really get much time to do much of anything. But now that I know I'm going to train distance, I'm going to try to get one of the bigger bays at my gun range and, you know, work on distance stuff and then work on keeping my accuracy at speed. Because it's not like I'm missing completely. It's like it's Alpha Charlies, and the Charlies are a half inch outside of the A on close targets because I'm dragging off on the quick, or, you know, moving the gun before my eyes and all of that stuff. And then I got to work on that more and learn when to do that. So that I would just pretty much just actually train more. And to answer the second part of the question, before nationals, because we talked about the whole, you said something about the sponsor thing. I do have sponsors now, which is crazy to me to begin with, but I want to make them look good by placing well, but they tell me they don't care about that because they're like, you know, they're like, realistically, you're newer to the sport as well. You don't have as much time as the top guys and all this. You don't get to shoot as much as them. This is, you have a full-time job, but you put the content out refined. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but I also want to look good and do good at the match. Like, if that's my goal. I want to, you know, hey, I won for Cajun, I won for Algo, or whatever the case may be. It looks good for them, looks good for me, and I want to make shooting a thing that I do and get out of the, you know, corporate and construction world and actually just shoot for a living. So
just remember, man, if you win the sponsor, dude, you'll make 200, 300, 400. Hell, you'll be a millionaire if you ever win majors.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you. Well, we'll say this. When was Alabama State? Alabama State was, when was that, Tyler?
May.
Yeah, I think it was a month ago, right, about a month or 2 or 3 weeks
May,
before nationals.
15th,
Yeah.
17th.
So I was able to shoot that match, and I had just made GM a week before that, and I was like, okay, I just want to go in there, just shoot my match, don't try anything crazy, and that was the best match I've ever had in my entire life. I finished 4th in Curie Optics and 8th overall in the entire match. And I was just like, well, holy shit, like what the hell happened to me that day? And I just wasn't trying anything. I was just shooting. And like I said, I wasn't trying to push pace. I wasn't trying to push speed. I wasn't trying to keep up with people, even though I had Brantley on my squad and everything like that. And me and
that guy's really slow. I can't believe you didn't beat him.
Oh yeah, that guy.
That dude is a freaking, that guy is like a wind-up toy that never ends. He's so fucking fast, dude. Yeah. Like, he shoots everything. I don't give a shit if it's a 50-yard headshot on the move. That dude shoots everything on the move.
He really does.
Stud, yeah.
Oh, he's a badass. I like that guy a lot. He's a good dude too. He's a really good dude.
Shooting, that was my first match ever actually shooting with him on a squad.
Yeah,
like, we've spoken at matches and stuff, but shooting with him there, he would literally, I would shoot a stage because he's obviously after me last name wise, and then I would shoot one, he would come back and I would talk to him and he'd be like, all right, I like what you did there, man, but do something like this. And he'll just say little small things I would apply to the next stage and do very well. And then I was like, okay, then I'd watch him do it and be like, well, shit, I actually suck. I'm not even really that good. But it was like, it was a good experience to be there. And then shooting with you guys at nationals as well was like, okay, I'm not off pace time-wise. I just need to get consistent with the hits. And that comes with live fire, which I don't get to do. So
you can get a lot of it from dry fire though, man. You really can. It's just the problem with most people is, like, for yourself with a full schedule, is you'll go 2 weeks with dry fire and not practice. So what are you baking in, good or bad? You don't know until you go shoot, right? So, you know, unfortunately, if you don't have time to live fire, you should be using those locals as practice, right? So, but again, the issue with all of you is that when you go to your local match, you have Tyler, you have DJ, you have Ryan. Paul, you're only in A class, so you don't really count.
You got me.
You have Daniel. You have everybody's at your level. So when you guys shoot, you guys are trying to compete instead of practice. And it's very, very difficult as a grown adult man to go, yeah, I don't care about losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The difference for me is I was getting my ass kicked already when I first started. So I didn't care because I was like, all right, that guy right there, that guy right there, that guy right there, I'm going to beat your ass. Wait, it's coming. And then I beat him. And then I was like, all right, let's beat him again. And I beat him again. And then I beat him bad. And I go, that guy might not be that good. Let's get the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And then I beat that guy. And I'm like, ooh, these guys are not good. I was just that bad. Right. But the difference is I was used to getting my ass kicked already. So because my mindset from the very beginning of any match I've ever gone to is you win it or you've lost. If you don't win the match, you've lost the match. I don't care about second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Like, now, don't get me wrong. I don't throw it away just because I'm not going to get first, but I never accept anything less than first. And that's been the difference between me and most of the people that I've kept shooting with. Right. And a lot of people can't, they think that's crazy, but I'm like, dude, I'm a winner. I win. If I don't win, I need to go back and work harder. And a lot of people don't understand that those local matches are just another opportunity for my gun in my hand, bullets on paper, for me to focus on what I'm not good at, right? So if I suck at entering on a position, guess what I'm doing? I'm entering everything the same way over and over. I don't care if it's wrong. I'm going to enter that just to work on it. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. If the start position is, I'll give you a great example. Let's just say the start position is loaded and holstered. If I'm having an issue with unloaded starts, guess what I'm doing for the entire match? Unloaded start. And these guys will look at you like, you are stupid. That's dumb. That's a disadvantage. I go, yeah, but in 3 months, watch my unloaded starts, bitch. Right? And the crazy part is because nobody practices and actually gets better, I still win because they're the same shooter that I saw 4 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, because they don't actually try to get better. Right. And it's very difficult for people to just let that go. Trust me, you should see my comments on my locals don't matter. It's pretty wild. You get I remember the first comment, the guy goes, why would anybody be upset about this? And then 20 more. It's like, that's bullshit, man. Locals are important. I'm like, okay, like, that's fine if that's your thing, man. But I'm talking to national competitors. I'm talking to you guys, right? I'm talking to Tyler. I'm talking to the people that are actually trying to go to nationals. Yeah, whatever that thing says. I don't know what it says. It's Ron Burgundy. That's all I know. Dude, you are definitely technology stupid because you would just put it on the screen, but you're using
no idea how to do that.
Like, hey,
no idea. I build houses.
Cinematic.
Don't fuck with computers.
That was cinematic.
I can read it to you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's I'm talking fucking cinematic, baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, that's going on the jersey too.
All right. So we got Matt. Okay. The next one is, since we've been talking about local so much, I am super interested in your local. Actually, no, Tyler, go. What I forgot you there.
I'll keep it quick because I was kind of like DJ. It was actually probably the least prepared for a nationals that I feel like I ever was, just because of work and all the things, like all the excuses, right? The only thing that I feel like I at least got to practice, like a month before, I had one live fire practice session where I just, I retorqued down all my dot and everything and new Loctite and everything, and I checked my zero. And when I check my zero, I don't just do it at 10 yards or 15 yards. I start at 10, check it at 25, check it at 35, check it at 45, and I make sure I'm hitting where I need to hit at all the distances, not just one. But I know, like, even when I got to Nats, like, I mean, you were with me the whole time. Like, I was still nervous about it the whole time until we shot our first, like, long range stage, and I put 2 alphas on all of them, and I was like, okay, I'm good. And I stopped worrying about it, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't have a lot of time I just did locals. That was all I did. Like, leading up to the match, I didn't do any live fire practices, which I normally try to do several of them. But so I spent the time that I didn't have to be able to live fire. I had that long 8-hour drive, and I tried to just lock in my mental game. Like, I went into this match going, okay, like, what are some of the mistakes that a lot of other people do, and a lot of mistakes that I've made, in the past and stuff like that. And so my big thing going into Nats this year was my mental, telling myself, do everything right, one try. Like, I told myself, I was like, do not make any makeup shots. Like, not allowed. Like, fucking whatever it takes to hit steel one try. That's what I got to do. And then one of our first stages was an unloaded start, and I like blew it. Remember, like I shot several makeups at those. Like they were only like 25 yards, but they were big poppers, and I took like fucking 7 shots. And I was like, bro, I spent 8 hours thinking about this. Like, don't do this. It's so, dude. I mean, you could tell after that stage, I was like, bro, I locked it in. I was like, focus, dude. Like, I was like, just one try, trigger prep. Just do it right, dude. One try, and it ended up working pretty good for most of the rest of the match. And so
got some stage wins out there. Yeah,
just one. But
Yeah,
it
dude.
just
The crazy part is I shot a couple stages so well, and I'm like, yeah, I got a chance. And then I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, oh my God. Like day one was bad, man. Like I didn't
we needed
really
a warm up. It was a good
understand.
warm up.
Well, I didn't really understand why I was making so many mistakes, like what was going on. I'm like, they would say 13 seconds. I'm going, what? Where are they getting 13 from? Obviously, I don't watch my videos. I don't watch my videos during the match at all. It doesn't do me any good. It's not a thing that I need because I'm not going to be able to analyze it, and I'm going to overthink basically. So I go back on day one, and I go after day one.
Hey, let me
over, and I
guess.
go,
Let me guess.
huh, it's the makeup shots. Yeah. So and dude, the crazy part is I coach this shit. So like one of my big things is rule 1 and 2, which is sights and trigger. Well, yeah, that only matters for the student, not for the idiot teaching it, right? So the crazy part is I'm getting my sights. The issue is I wasn't looking at the target before I was getting my sights. So I'm just sending rounds on paper, and I'm like, nope, that wasn't good makeup. Like, I don't think I sent a single round that wasn't needed though. So my shot calling was phenomenal through nationals. The problem is I needed it. So Paul walks up to me. I think it was day one, definitely day one. He walks up to me, he goes, dude, your makeup shots are so fast. And I look at him, I go, dude, that's not good. That means I fucking need a makeup shot. And he's like, I'm just saying, bro, it's pretty awesome. I go, it's not. And I just walk away. And Paul doesn't know me that well. So he's probably thinking like, damn, I pissed him off. I was like, nah, dude, it's just me like yelling at myself externally, right? Like I'm one of those guys, if I get it out, I'm like, all right, let's get
So
to
you
the
probably
next
needed to hear it.
Yes.
Well, I'm pretty
yeah. I
sure
mean,
Paul
the
thought
thing
you
is
were
I
an
know
asshole.
it. That's the sad part is I'm literally telling myself afterwards, like, dude, you know better. What are you doing? So sometimes it just, dude, that ADD, man, it's like squirrel everywhere for me some days. And it's just like, God, that day one was brutal. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Tom Castro Shooting Academy Next Level Podcast. This is the end of part 1. Tune in next week to listen to part 2.